What's up everybody, George back again with Warp Charge Gaming. I'm excited to be making this video to show you how to stream inside of a streaming platform software. In this particular instance, I'm using Streamlabs OBS, but this information could be applicable to any of your preferred streaming software. It's just about where's the buttons. They all take you from A to Z. It's just about what kind of ride do you like or can afford per se too. So the cool thing about Streamlabs OBS is that it's a free software and that it's incredible. Its foundation software is OBS, online broadcasting software, but it's a more slick and streamlined interface that has a lot more intuitive hands-on control to be able to adjust the different customizations you want to apply to your stream, be it the widgets that show your subscriber goal, or a chat bar, or cool widgets that pop up for alerts when you get subscribers and different kind of social media goodies. So Streamlabs OBS just makes everything easier, more streamlined and intuitive. OBS is the baseline software that does go Mac or PC that has the same tools that need to be applied, and a lot of the things that I'm going to show you in this video can be done in any program of your choice. So let us get into it here. All right, so here we are looking at Streamlabs OBS. The same thing I'm seeing is what you're seeing right now. Here at the top of the screen, you can see the preview window where you're seeing what the audience is seeing. In this case, I can see that you see everything that I do. Now, typically, this will be what the audience sees while you're looking at this control panel down below here that's doing all the behind the scenes stuff to give your audience what you want them to see or hear at that given time. It's broken up into three sections. You have your audio mixer, the sources, and the sources are what your audience is seeing attached to one of these scenes. So when you open up Streamlabs OBS, it'll be completely blank. These are presets I've made to do the shows. And all you do is hit the plus sign here and you'll add a new scene. And you can name it what you like. And within inside that scene, it's gonna have a blank window over here for the sources. Then you'll manually add each type of source that you'd like to apply. You can see we can load up images. Media source would be things like when we click it, you can see it, things like video files, MP3s, GIFs, whatever. That'd be a media source versus an image would be a PNG, a JPEG. These are all nice conveniences that they show us up here as examples. Maybe we want to add in just a blank color in the backdrop, like a big white backdrop. You can do that with the color source. Display capture is what we're doing right now, primary or secondary monitor. If I say add source, and that's what I have loaded up right here. This Google Hangout, I've named it that for when I'm usually showing a screen capture. I'm sharing a Google Hangout session so that I can interview people, and you'll see that more as we go along here. But in this case, that is just a display capture. Let's go back to the sources here. We also have a very important audio input capture. You wouldn't hear me right now if I didn't have this selected. When I choose that, add source, I'm gonna just tell it to add a new source. And you can see that we have the interface that I'm using, or it even recognizes the intensity shuttles if I wanted to send audio through the HDMI. Whatever sound cards you have available to show, that's what's going to be listed in these audio input capture devices. If you're using a USB microphone or an external sound card, then this is where you're going to select that interface, that microphone or external sound card to be listened to. So here's my audio input capture, and you can see over in the mixer, this is me talking through the audio input capture. The cool thing is by default, over here in the mixer section, you already have the desktop audio set up to be able to be captured. So anything I play on my computer, YouTube, SoundCloud, any sort of music, it's gonna already be heard to the audience, and I can individually mix that from my own audio right here from the control panel. Now, when you do a Google Hangout or some sort of online meeting with people, as you hear them coming through your computer, this will route it to your audience. So you're gonna be picking up your microphone and the people that you're talking to and being able to mix it independently right here inside the software. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a camera and show you what it's like to start adding different instances here. So let's add the camera that I'm have pointing at me right now. So we're gonna go to Blackmagic device that has that as the default for a capture device. We're gonna add the source, and you can see there's me talking right there. I have another camera set up. Go ahead and fire it on. You can see these are the presets that I've already added, and as you can see, here I am right there. Look, these are the different cameras that I could choose right now. I have 4 cameras typically. That's why it says add existing source, because I've already created presets for the 4 different cameras that I might want to use, but I could easily just add a new source, say yes, Blackmagic device, name it what I want, And when I do add it, you can see here's the different capture cards that I have available to choose from, which are attached to a given camera. In this case, I'm gonna go to a presetted camera I already have, Blackmagic, add source, there's my top down, here's me. All right, so here I am. Now you're seeing just this. You're not seeing the backdrop of what is Streamlabs OBS. You're not seeing the behind the curtains any longer. As I grab the video image here, I'm able to shrink it up, and now you can see the green lines here attached to the item showing its center points. This is something the audience wouldn't see typically as I would feed them the live view. So now you can see I can easily begin to have things like this going on. Now you can see we're showing them our screen and we're showing me in video. So we could begin to customize this. I have a green screen behind me. I could make that green screen backdrop disappear. We could crop this up so that's nice and tight and only focused on me. And then imagine that you're seeing my stream software behind me here, but this could just as easily be a video game that you're playing or something online that you're wanting to present. So let's look at customizing my camera angle a little bit here. So if I were to go down into the bottom of the screen into our sources view, I have what's called I call this the top-down camera. This is usually the camera pointing down at my gaming board. If I right-click that, you can see all the different ways that you're able to manipulate that. I could quickly transform this to fit the screen, or I can undo that quickly with a keyboard shortcut. But in order to apply effects, they call it filters in Streamlabs. So we'll hit filters, and now we can see I have a bunch here on the left side of the screen of stuff I've already had active. But in this case, these are all turned off. You can see these eye icons. See it shortening me. This is a different type. These are preset settings that I have for when I'm doing different things. If I'm filming one game, I can put this kind of crop on. If I'm filming another game, I'll put this kind of crop on. And these are preset effects that I have applied to this particular camera preset. So my top-down Blackmagic capture device setting has these built-in effects that I can turn on and off per what I'm doing at that given time. So we'll make a fresh one for this given example. When we hit the plus sign, that's when we have access to the different things we can do. We can do all kinds of audio effects, so we can adjust the colors, and a lot of this stuff has motion within. We can do scrolling words, things of that nature. In this case, one of the most common ones is to hit crop. We're gonna say done, and now you can see that this has the eye icon highlighted as on, and we're ready to adjust our crop. So if I want to get, rid of a lot of the right side of the screen, a lot of the stuff just in my room here, I could say, I'll make a guess. There's 200, let's cut it more, 300, let's go even more extreme, 500 there. We cut out a whole bunch of that. Now we just have the green screen here. For the most part, let's cut out this top part right to the top of my head. So we'll say 200, make a guess. All right, let's go about 180. All right, so now mostly green screen in the bottom left there. All right, so for funsies, let's go ahead and add some green screen effect. So we're gonna go to our top-down view here again, hit filters. I already have the green screen setting ready to go here on the side, but I'm gonna show you to it fresh. So you hit the plus sign, and then we can scroll down, and Chroma Key is the terminology to be able to utilize green screen tech. And when we have that active, you can see in the example image here that it's showing what is going to disappear behind us here. Now in this instance, you can still see the fuzzy light green in the bottom left, and this is due to the fact that the lighting is different. If I had my camera lights on, then I would make all this one as solid of a green as I could. Here you can see the darker green and the dark green, and when you turn on the Ultra key, it's picking a majority of the color that it sees on that green there, and it's removing that, and this darker green is gonna start to look fuzzy and not affected. So let's turn it on, just for an example. Now we have that in the backdrop. Now if we liked, we could add a source back there that would look cool. So for instance, let's add a image. There we go. We'll do this. All right, so we add it. Now, right now it's full screen, but when I drag it below my camera angle, now you can see that it's starting to blend in. As I only look at the green screen portion, you can see that the flyer is going onto my backdrop. If I was perfectly centered on that green screen and I had it well lit, then I would perfectly emerge into the backdrop of whatever I want to show, and that is how you use green screen. If I were to shrink this back up and hide this backdrop image, then you can see that by just turning off Chroma Key, it's going to go back to being green. So Chroma Key off, and there's my natural backdrop. So you can use green screen in lots of creative ways. That's how we create our invisible dice tray. I'm able to create an additional source here of another camera that's looking at a green screen dice tray, and then you do the chroma key setting to make it disappear and use dice that pop well on a green screen, and you'll have your dice superimpose onto whatever you're showing the audience as your main video capture. Pretty cool. Okay, so right now we already have it set up that if you wanted to stream yourself playing video games or doing interviews with people, you've already seen that we can create a picture within picture kind of concept here where you're looking at what's on my screen and you're looking at me on camera. Additionally, you've seen that I can actually make everything behind me disappear with a green screen and be able to show your audience just what you want them to see with you superimposed on top. All we had to do is add our fundamental audio here using our USB microphone or a audio interface, and you're ready to go. Now, if we wanted to say add an additional camera in, then we're gonna hit the add source here. We'll go to our Blackmagic device once again, and we're gonna choose the Rebel as the camera. You can see that it comes up in the preview menu here, add source. Once again, it makes it full screen. I can shorten that up, and now we have two picture-in-pictures going simultaneously. So if I wanted to, this is all what's on top of the others. Notice how this camera covers up that camera. That's just related to down here in the source, the order in which your sources are. Whatever's on top of the next will be over top of it. So if I were to take the other camera view, the top down here, and drag it above the Rebel, now you can see it's on top. Where that could, now how that could perform is, let's say that this was our top-down view. This big view that we made full screen is our top-down view of our game board. Now you can see the full screen of the game board and see whatever other view you want with the other camera that you see in the top left. So you're able to get multiple camera angles, and you could turn those on and off and switch between them. So if I were to turn off the Rebel here, you can see in my sources, I turn that off by hitting the muted icon on the eye. Turn it on, turn it off. I can do the same thing with the camera in the top left, right? So pretty sweet. Now additionally, if I wanted to, I could even have a different view of how this particular camera shot is cropped up or affected, and I could turn that on and off based on my desires. So for instance, right now Google Hangout is full. Right now this Google Hangout preset I have for screen capture is full screen. If I were to say copy and paste that, now we can take this Google Hangout version and make it a small screen. And look, now we have duplicates of the same thing. So I could have this version and I could put some crop settings on it to only look at one little quarter of the screen, and take my duplicated version and put additional crop settings on it and have it on another part of the screen. So you could take one view and make it into multiple perspectives. If right now I had somebody sitting right beside me, I could have this crop version of me and take a duplicate of this camera angle and have a crop version of just them. So from one camera, getting two multiple instances of seeing the person there. So pretty cool. Now, if I wanted to, I can go between, I can put this up in the corner, and then if I wanted to, I could switch back to our full-on backdrop while still showing you what's going on inside the actual behind the hoods of things. So you can see how we can begin to switch between, here I am showing you this picture-in-picture, to now I'm showing it to you full screen. And I could, and you can even down here inside this sources window, you can begin to group things so that you can turn them off as a singular button push. Call this the screen capture folder, for instance. And now I can easily turn those things on and off together. So let's grab both of these, throw them inside, and now we can turn those on and off as a single button push. So if we were to go back to our Rebel view, we can hide this and instantly we're back to that. So you can see how you can quickly jump between these different perspectives, all within inside of a single scene. So let's go back to what's important here. All right, so I've been manipulating all these sources from within inside of this one singular scene. We could make all these different versions of the different ways we'd want these sources to be applied within multiple different versions of scenes. So for instance, maybe I have it set up this way when I'm doing a tutorial, but I want it set up in a different way when I'm streaming a game. So I could have my tutorial scene here, and then I could have my video game scene, and I could have my talk show scene. All right, so for instance, here we are inside the talk show scene. This is where I'm gonna show my Google Hangout buddies talking to me, as well as an image of me. In this case, I already have the green screen functionality built in, where behind me I have a cool backdrop. If I were to go ahead and go to my, my filters here again and activate the Chroma Key, then you will be able to see that disappear behind us. And now you can see the cool green screen backdrop. If I was all centered up, then that's all you would see is my backdrop, and it looks cool. This is already built within inside of this talk show scene, where I may not need that into a tutorial scene or some other version that doesn't use green screen. Now, also within inside of my sources, over on the right side of the screen here, I have this folder I've created that has my widgets within inside. In this case, I have chat settings, I have alerts. The cool thing about Streamlabs OBS is it has built-in test widgets. So if I wanted to fire off a test real quick, I can look at what it looks like when someone follows. You can see we got this cool setup. Now, on each one of my different scenes that I've created, I may put the location of where the chat window and where the alerts pop up at in different strategical places. Here's what it's like when someone subscribes. You can hear that there's also a cool sound effect attached to that, so I can actually be notified when it goes down. Here's what happens when someone donates. You know, you got something for everything. And those are all, it seems like it's fancy, and it is, but it's actually pretty easy to set up with Streamlabs OBS, because they have these built-in widgets that you can select and apply very easily. And to add that to your Streamlabs OBS stream, it's just inside of the sources section, where you just hit the add icon again. And then over on the right side here, here's the widgets, where you can do the alert boxes, the follower goals, all that stuff that you might want to add into your stream can easily be applied here in the widget section when you add a source to your scene. Okay, so you've seen how I have my alerts. I also have it so that when you type, I have selected a customized way in which the words pop up on the screen. So like, yo, there we are, what's up? And I got these cool little comic book style chat windows. To set up your chat and your alert, a lot of built-in presets that you can do. There's so many great tutorials and built-in guides within inside of Streamlabs, or just on the internet in general, on how to set this stuff up relevant to the particular stream software that you end up using. So I'm gonna leave that deep dive for you to figure out how to set up the alerts in the way that you want to. I'm just showing you how they are applied inside of Streamlabs once you do get them set up. So from here, you should have an idea of how to create a scene, add sources to it, where you're gonna add your video capture device and you're gonna add your audio input device, and that's gonna get you your sound and your video. And then you can add a display capture to show what is on your screen to your audience. And that's gonna be for presentations, Google Hangout interviews, video games. And those are the fundamentals to what you're gonna need to get going. From there, you can fancy it up by adding your cool widgets, chat effects, and different alerts and things of that nature, donation bar goals and stuff like that. And that's all added as a source inside of your scene. You can create multiple scenes that customize different types of perspectives or different types of shows that you want to be able to launch at the push of a button. And we've seen how within inside of one of these scenes, you can mute on and off these different sources to be able to kind of DJ the different things that your audience sees. Now, what I've been showing you is this whole time is you've been looking at this happening from a live perspective. So everything that I click, you see it instantaneously. Over here in the bottom left in this toolbar that's on the side of the screen for Streamlabs, there is a little, this little box that's called Studio Mode. You hover your mouse over it, it tells you what each one of these are. When you hit Studio Mode, you'll see that it splits your screen, and now my audience is only gonna see what I transition over to them to see. So now in the left-hand side of the screen is the preview that I'm setting up. So if I want to, I can now go back to that crazy setup of like this, and you can see on the right side of the screen that you're only seeing the previous way that I had it. But when I'm ready, I can send you this new vision of what I have set up on the left. So I'm gonna hit transition, and now the audience is seeing that part of the presentation. If I want to go back to how it was, I can set that up on the left side. You're not seeing that happen, and then I can transition back to it. So when you hit studio mode, that's how you're going to be able to set up these previews before the audience sees it. And that's where, when you have multiple cameras trying to set up dynamic shots, you can send the audience one camera angle while you yourself are looking at the preview you're setting up, so that your audience isn't seeing all that shaky cam action and seeing you try to get that perfect lineup as you adjust your camera up and down and left to right. Once that camera angle is set up, then you're ready to send them a transition with a perfectly set up shot ready to go. Now, doing all this in a live environment is either, if you want a lot of dynamic camera angles and ways that you're presenting to your audience, then you're gonna have to change all this while you're going. And the beauty of it is that you can, but it can be pretty intensive if you have a lot of your focus and a lot of hands-on necessity to what you're trying to show. So that's either going to require a dedicated person operating the controls, being the producer and giving these different angles and perspectives while the other person is the presenter, or you do your best to create as automated of a setup as possible to require as few clicks as possible to show the presentation you want. If you were just addressing the audience or doing a presentation or doing video games with just basically your widgets, your chat boxes set up, you're showing your screen and then showing a picture of you with a little green screen action behind you, you can set that up, leave it and forget it and be done. You'll never have to push another button. But when you're doing tabletop wargaming, battle reports, multiple cameras, and trying to switch between different angles in a live stream, say you're wanting to stream role-playing and be able to focus on each different person speaking as they speak, whatever, that's going to require more hands-on approach. And what I do to be able to stream the most dynamic version of a presentation while being able to play the game that I'm streaming at the same time is to use the remote control app that is available for Streamlabs that I find absolutely incredible. I'm going to show that to you now. To show you guys the iPad control directly from my iPad, I'm using a cool application called Reflector 3. And Reflector will let me screen capture what is on my iPad and then show it to my audience. So let's get that set up now. So, all right, so there's the iPad. Let's try to shrink this up a little bit and I'll try to show you what's happening right here from the controls. So if I were to go to my Streamlabs deck software here, then I'm able to go to remote control, and everything that I've built into the scene is now available at my fingertips. It looks like it wants me to make it communicate with the software here. To do that, I just go to the settings in the bottom left corner, go to the remote control, and then Streamlabs will create a QR code that I can then scan with the iPad, and it'll connect it to the software. All right, and there we go. So this is what the application looks like when it's all up and running. Okay, so everything we just created inside of our scene there for our tutorials is now listed as selectable options here inside the remote app. You can see the eyes that are lit up in white right now in the middle of the iPad there. Those are the different things that we're able to mute on and off. So once again, if I mute the Google Hangout, so now you're looking at it direct. Now, if I go back to hitting the Google Hangout button, you can see everything that's on the screen again. If I go back to studio mode, now you can see studio mode, transition. So now I'm able to touch these different things live, and if you look at the left side of the screen in the preview, I can change what the audience is seeing. If I were to drag this down to where you can see the live mode and not the live mode, look at your perspective never changes, but I'm changing the things that are happening inside the preview before the audience sees it. If I transition to this type of view and then hit the transition button, I did that remotely from the iPad instead of having to click it with my mouse or even look at the screen. And that is the biggest part, is not having to actually look at the screen. You're able to just look at this device. It's able to travel around with you. This could be your phone. This can be an iPad or tablet, which I find to be convenient. But everything that I have built into Streamlabs, my custom settings, my intro videos, going live, muting things on and off, turning audio on and off, whatever, I can do from a remote control now. So for instance, it's not going to look like it normally does, but I'm going to hit the top-down view right next to the transition button there. You can see on the left side of the screen, that is a different camera angle. I'm gonna fire that off for what you guys see right now and show you how by me pushing these different buttons, if you were to look at my iPad right now, I have all these different icons that I can turn on and off. And these are the different overlays that I want to present live to show things like score, factions fighting one another, what phase of the game it's in, any type of information that I want to overlay live, I have organized to be able to fire off at a fingertip remotely without looking at the computer. So again, this is going to look a little funky because it's not the usual thing the camera's focused on. I'm going to hit the transition button. There we go. And now you can see the score on the left side of the screen. You can see the icon. I have my viewer count widget in the bottom left. If people were to type, then it's going to come up in a different location. Widgets go off in a different place around here. There's the chat. Here's like, say, a widget, right? So this is a different scene with different sources built in. And now right from the iPad, if I want to, I can be like, all right, it's turn 1, it's turn 2, it's turn 3. Oh yeah, you guys aren't seeing this because I'm not in the right mode. So I was in the studio mode where I have to hit the transition button. I'm gonna go exit studio mode. Now everything's happening in real time. And you can see right there under the score, there's turn 1, there's turn 2, there's turn 3. All right, it's the movement phase. It's the psychic phase, it's the shooting phase, it's the charge phase, it's the fight phase. So here I am switching camera angles right from the tablet. What's up? What's up? So that is a huge functionality that really increases your ability to be hands-free, playing your game, being into the moment, and being able to have dynamic angles and changes where I'm able to, quickly, without going to the computer, without finding where that is, I already have nicely organized to be able to go to my turns. We got things in here like the deployment zone. So like if you were looking at the top down of the table, I would be able to show you the different ways that we are deployed to fight our battle. And this is all, you can just let your mind go crazy and all the things you might want to kind of DJ live for your audience to see. Now I'm going to click back to our tutorial scene. And now here we are with a push of a button right from the iPad, able to bring that stuff on and off. If I were to add additional sources to this tutorial scene, it would then appear inside of the remote control for me to mute on and off. So the remote control is a huge part of what makes us be able to do as dynamic of a show as we do live while I play games. And that is capable via Streamlabs OBS. This is obviously using 4 cameras, green screen dice cam, overhead camera for a top-down view, a walk-around GoPro that is able to get to the model eye view and be very mobile, and then I have a tripoded Rebel T7i that you were seeing just a moment ago looking at me, and that is to be able to get from a stationary position nice zoomed-in shots or wide-eyed looks at the table from a different perspective from the top down. All those different camera angles are then DJ'd or VJ'd here inside the remote control app with the presets that I've created for any given scene, where I've made it so that a battle report scene has all the applicable imagery that I want to show over top the screen. I had the talk show setting that is already preset to do a screen capture of a Google Hangout. And in each one of those you can apply your different widgets and chat boxes to different areas of the screen. The sky's the limit as far as how your imagination wants to go. Every different software that you're going to get your hands on typically have this scene and source concept, and then of course your audio mixer. You're always going to want to make sure you deactivate the camera audio for when you add a camera into the software, as it's going to have its built-in camera mic and cause a lot of reverb and bad sound quality versus the other microphones you're going to be using. Whatever software you're getting into, you're looking for the same stuff. Where's the crop? Where's the Chroma Key to do the green screen? Where's my audio input capture to add my microphone? Where's my video capture to add my cameras? Where's my display capture to add what's on the screen? When you find where those features are located, from there it's about fancying it up with creating in-depth perspectives through multiple different scenes, being able to turn on and off your different sources to be able to kind of DJ that perspective to your audience, and of course getting all those different widgets and whatnot to apply onto the screen for cool effects and that professional polished look. The ability to add those widgets and cool effects is going to be reliant on the software that you get into. The more basic the software, the more clunky it is, the more difficult or non-existent those features are going to be. All right, so that is Streamlabs OBS and how I apply it in a nutshell. The only thing that I'm going to show you finally is how we stream on 3 different platforms simultaneously. This goes back to signing up for a service. At first it's free, but depending on how far you want to go with it, it costs more. And that's using a program called Restream.io. Restream.io is a multi-streaming software that it allows you to go to multiple outlets at the same time. That's how we stream to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch simultaneously. I believe you get 2 as a free account, and for Facebook you can only go to a personal page. You get up to 3 sources when you go to the first line of a paid account. I think it's $10-20 a month, and then you are able to go to a Facebook business page. So that's how we stream off the Facebook Warp Charge Gaming page, and that's how we go to Twitch, YouTube, Facebook simultaneously. And all you do is you basically, like we did with Streamlabs OBS browser, is we set up or integrate the different channels. I just add channels here and set up my account information, link them up together. And then we're able to, inside of this Restream.io browser, turn on or off what channels we're going to. I actually have an additional YouTube channel that streams a different game system than my primary, and when I want to stream to that, I can just activate that and deactivate the other YouTube account and only go to the source that I want. If I only wanted to go to Facebook, I could deactivate these and only go there. When I go to my titles, I can now label the name of my show, new show, tutorial, whatever, and update all of my platforms simultaneously to be that title when I stream. Once you have integrated all these different accounts, it's going to give you a custom stream key, and then you're going to be able to take that stream key and apply it to your settings inside of Streamlabs OBS's stream routing, or any given software that you do use. Not only does Restream.io give you the ability to multi-stream to your different platforms, but it also does an amazing job at interconnecting those platforms when the different users are communicating. One, I have it so that their comments are going to pop up onto the screen and be able to be seen by the audience from wherever they're watching, or if they're paying attention to the chat or not. But additionally, there's a little robot inside of Restream.io that sends over the communication from each platform to each other. So when someone types a comment on YouTube, it sends it to Twitch and Facebook. When someone types into Facebook, it sends it to Twitch and YouTube, and vice versa. So this is very powerful for you to be able to stream on the platforms that your users may prefer, and them still to be able to interact with one another, both on the screen with your chat window and by the robot sending their messages back and forth to one another. So it really creates a interesting, a cool experience by people being able to be on their application of choice, but still being able to interact with everybody on the applications they might prefer. A very powerful tool, a huge upgrade to our presentation. So Restream.io and Streamlabs OBS are the fundamental softwares that we use to get the job done at Warp Charge Gaming. So I hope this has been enlightening, and I hope it helps you create some great content. Feel free to ask any questions. I do appreciate your support and you watching the videos. Keep taking fun seriously. We'll see you here soon.